Okay, Kermit Weeks here, Fantasy of Flight. I am coming up on the Owatonna Airport in Minnesota. Come to see Brent Langer and progress on my S-38 Sikorsky. Here's the airport entrance with a bunch of T-38s. That's pretty cool. I have not been here in 2 years. I missed the last Oshkosh, and that's always where I go. There's the Owatonna Airport sign. We are headed to Brent's Hangar. It's been a little bit of a back burner project due to some various circumstances. Missed the exit. And anyway, but I think he's got a surprise for me, so I'm hoping we got some major progress. We started working on it about 6 months ago, so we'll see what he's got going. Help if I had my keys. Okay. Let's see what's happening. Check this out. That was not like that when I was here last. Pretty cool. What's happening, Brent? How you been? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good, good. Awesome. Man, that thing is big. Got the wheels on, so got the brakes all in, and
Brakes are all done. It's all final assembled.
good. And so refresh my memory again about the brakes. They were just...
The linings were about half wore down, so we decided to put all new linings on to help preserve the disc, because the discs are hard to find and they're crazy expensive too.
And what are these wheels off of?
They're off a turbine Mallard, so the
really?
airplanes that Chalks was using.
Oh, I'll be darned.
So that's why they're so expensive. There's not many Mallards in operation anymore, of course.
Yeah, so it's got a bit of a seaplane lineage.
Yep. There were some specialty parts that were machined specific for this airplane that, modified that wheel from a Mallard to this. But for the most part, it's a Mallard.
So is nobody flying? I mean, it's $1 million spar mod,
Right.
but nobody's done it.
I couldn't find anybody that's been operating them because I was trying to find, get some parts
Whoa.
for the brakes and having a hard time with that.
Huh.
So, luckily, we were able to locate enough of brake linings to get it all done. It takes 32 of them. So.
Whoa. So are these all brand new, or are they off something?
No, that was all machined here back in 2000. So.
Whoa.
That was all custom made.
Huh.
So, Buzz had a good connection, of course, with the Owatonna Tool Company, and so they machined a lot of that cylinder stuff there.
So all the tanks are in. Last time I was here, I think the center section was covered, but it was still open on the top.
Yep, and there's a big lid on the top that's meant to come on for inspection. And so the fuel tanks are actually not in there yet. We got it up on there, so it looked more like an airplane here for it.
Wow. Man, this thing is big compared to the S-39.
Yeah, it had 25 feet on each end of it yet too.
Whoa. So is the bottom wing covered? No,
That's the top wing.
those are the top wings. So the outboard ones are not covered.
No, that's what we're working on right now, is putting the finishing touches on those for getting ready for covering.
Uh-huh. So is this one of the tanks over here?
Yeah, that's where I was riveting up some rotors and stuff.
And you all pressure check these again?
We will, yep. What we're having issues with is this is the filler cap area here. This thing goes in here and then the cap fits on that.
Yep.
I don't know if it was due to the expansion and contraction of the aluminum in the heat or what caused it, but all 4 tanks were leaking pretty bad around that. So I fabricated a couple of doublers that are going to go in there with some nut plates and stiffen that area up, get it extra fixed so it won't leak again. So, and then this is the hole for where the fuel gauge sender unit goes in there. That was leaking on all 4 tanks as well. So,
whoa, well that was good.
So we'll get it all riveted together. They were never painted before. I don't know why. When we're all done with them, we're going to clean them up good and put a good coat of epoxy on them so they'll be preserved. There was some small spots of corrosion that needed to be addressed.
These just rivets that popped or what?
These were rivets that were corroded, and I drilled them out. And, so there was actually a hole corroded. When we shipped the airplane back, we had to take the fuel tanks out, have them separate from the airplane because of the shipping.
Oh, really?
So these sat on their fronts for quite a long time during that process. And I think what happened was that little bit of corrosion got started. This is where it sits in the center
strap
section. There's actually a piece of wood that's on the back side of the spar, and it has a piece of felt on it, so it sits there and rubs a little bit.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to put some paint on it.
Yeah.
I was just going to put a bigger rivet in there.
Yep.
Oh, that's common.
Yep. We'll be
Rolling
big
out a
rivets
little
in
bit.
and using on these tanks. We use all just soft aluminum rivets. They smash a lot better and seal a lot better. And
Have they, but it hasn't been drilled apart. This is the original Pro Seal or whatever.
that's all original sealant. Yep. So, and the way I like to leak check them, we'll get this all put back together and then fill them with avgas. I mean, every last air pocket is out. That way, if you're going to have a leak, you're going to see it. You know,
Right. You could kind of rotate the tank around too if you.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we'll have 90 gallons of gas that will move from this tank to the next one, and
Good. How much is the whole total?
the inboards I believe are 80 gallons and the outboards are 90. So it ends up being a total of 340, I believe.
340, and this thing probably burns 30 an
35.
hour.
I was going to say
35.
35.
Yeah. Okay. Man, that's a lot.
Well, that's if you can stand to sit in it that long. I mean,
Yeah.
8 hours is doable, but
Well, we're going to have a bar in the back of this one. Of course, all the Sikorskys get up the same way, S-39, S-38, except on the other ones, they're actually on the opposing side. I'll go in there a little bit later.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so freaking cool.
So we've got all that wiring and cabling is split right and left. Luckily, we had labeled all that when we took it apart.
Luckily.
So we kind of got that.
Paul was there because Brent and Paul here went over. Tom Schrade's, who I bought the airplane from, and I've been watching it for a while. He had flown it for 3 years over in Europe, and finally he was self-insuring it, and he was like, I don't need to be pushing this anymore. And I was actually flying an Albatross at the Shuttleworth collection, and with Gene DeMarco in an RE8, and he sends me an email and he says, "Hey Kermit, I'm thinking of selling the S-38, And I said, "I'm in Amsterdam." I said, "Well, hey, I'm over in England, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, what do you want for it?" And he told me what he was going to ask. And he said, "But for you, I'd sell it for this." The next day I went over with a contract. Man, we signed a deal, and we did. So Brent and my guy Paul Stesowitz, it's working on our Messerschmitt 108 right now, took this whole thing apart in Amsterdam. So I think there's another video somewhere of that. So all of this looks good. Cables, electrical cables and stuff.
Yep, everything was in good shape there.
And all these engine nacelles and mounts were made.
They were new in 2000, but then we took everything apart. We cleaned it, obviously. We inspected everything and then stripped it and repainted everything. It originally had a white epoxy on the engine mount, which I hated because it always looked just.
Oh, with oil and stuff. Yeah. Well, this matches the airplane too now.
Yeah. The sad thing is all that's going to be hidden underneath the skins and everything of the cowling, but it is going to look nice.
These little egg-shaped things, is that for the sumps or something?
That's for the fuel sumps that hang down.
Okay. All right. Just you drain them and stuff.
Yep. And actually on each one of those sumps, there's a flexible fuel line that'll hang off of there and go into each engine nacelle. It kind of looks like a Y going in there.
Yeah.
And then you have a selector valve, of course, up in there that you can actually run both engines off of one tank. It can cross feed and everything like that. So there's a platform that goes across between each engine that goes on top of that pedestal, and that's where all your fuel lines and your electrical and all that's going to be laying is up on that shelf basically. And then there's another piece that goes on top of that pedestal up to the center section, and that there'll actually be a small hole cut in the fabric in front of those 6 holes that are drilled. Right in front of that's where the control cables will go up for the ailerons and that. So
I'll be darned. Wow. So was all this, well, of course you took it apart, so all this is still in your memory, and there wasn't a lot of.
We had a notebook with some notes.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, did you guys ever do any kind of like a little flight manual or something like that for the airplane?
We did, yep. And
I
it should be in with the logbooks.
Yeah, I would love to get a copy of that to take home just to start thinking about it. I know we're not completely close, but at some point it'll get me start thinking about it.
Yep. Another good source of information on that would be the guys at SC Johnson. I know a lot of the guys that are still flying over there, mechanics over there.
Yeah.
You know, they had one of these, and they actually wrote a maintenance manual and everything else for it. So
Oh, really?
I'm sure I
Great.
could get a copy of that from them too.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be easier for you to get it than me, because
Sure.
they know you more than me, but yeah, I'd
Yep.
appreciate that if you could.
Yep.
You could try.
Definitely do that.
Huh.
These are all pretty fresh. That was the last things that we had painted here. That and the wheel halves. The last time we did this, the frame was black like that, and the wheel was actually Nevada silver, same as the wings, but the thing always looked
Right,
real dirty.
stick out like a sore thumb.
right. So now everything's black, and
Yeah, that's good. It matches the little trim here. Of course, everybody knows zebras are not black and white; they're actually dark brown and white.
Yep. And then, so what we'll do is we're going to put some grip. There'll be a grip put on here, grip tape, small one here, and then we never had them on the pipes before,
But everybody stepped on them
Yeah, and
and
they're
slipped
always-
and busted their butts.
and it was wearing the paint off, and so we'll put some grip on those as well.
Good.
And then there's a brake line that will hook here, and it's clamped on here and hooks up to that fitting.
Well, I will get the benefit of almost 1,000 hours of previous operating on the airplane. And so when we ended up brought the airplane back, we took the engines off, had those overhauled, props overhauled. What else was done? Of course, the brakes are new.
Yep, recovered everything.
Yeah,
Everything's-
recovered everything. And did a lot of work. So maybe go look at the wings over here.
This wing is 100% ready to cover. It's been checked over and rigged, and cabling's all done. That's all ready to go, and the other one's not too far behind it.
And you were actually saying that you actually do some of the better covering in the winter just because you can control the conditions and the humidity and stuff.
Yep.
You got like a little booth in there.
Yep. Heat bills are a little higher by doing it that way, but you have very little humidity, which helps with the finish.
So, refresh my memory. A lot of this was drilled apart. I mean, the ribs weren't, but the ribs were all taken off.
Yep.
Spars were by themselves. Did any of the, find any, do any repairs on the spars or?
The spars didn't need any repair work. We had all the ribs off, all the leading edges were off, all this other skin work was off. And then I did a lot of repairs, and you can see like here and here, both these ribs were repaired with a long channel because the cap strip was cracked.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Here and here.
Yeah, so that's all been doubled up.
Yep. Yep, and I would say there was in the neighborhood of probably 100 of those repairs done on the various ribs.
Oh,
So
that's good.
The ribs and the spars are all, from original airplanes, so they're quite old, and they just needed some repair work. The last time we did the restoration of this, these wings were basically just freshened up a bit and covered. They
Really? Oh, that's good.
didn't really need anything at that time, but then Tom put 1,000 hours on it, so
Right.
it had some wear and tear.
Yeah. Yeah, so to repeat that, so the whole wing and the tail booms were original, where on the Johnson airplane that you all built basically from scratch, that was a scratch built.
Yep, and the vertical fins are all covered. They're finished now, silver,
Oh, yeah.
and tail booms are done as well.
It's oil tanks?
Those are the oil. They had sent them out, and we had a guy re-weld the full perimeter because what we were having issues with was they were wanting to crack in the welds. I don't know if they didn't.
What is that, like 50 or?
I think it's 50-50 too.
Yeah, but is it 50,000s?
Yeah, it might even be 63.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I don't remember for sure, but yeah, they re-welded and pressure checked all that stuff.
Good.
So.
Good. Yeah, so these basically, one goes above the horizontal stabilizer, one goes below. There's your rudders,
Rudders ready.
up and down.
So the taller rudders are the ones that go on top.
Uh-huh.
These guys are on the bottom, and I think the main reason they did that was for clearance over like a tug or anything you're using to move the
Right,
plane. It's
underneath
really
the back.
close.
Huh.
In fact, Tom actually broke, I believe it was right-hand rudder, and the attach points on the one fin got broke off.
Really? From what? Somebody hitting it?
Yeah, somebody hit it with a tug. So we went over to Germany and took it apart. I had to box it up and bring it here and fix it, and then
Oh,
went back
my
over.
Boy, that adds to the maintenance bill.
I was over there probably, I would say, 7 or 8 times.
No way. Oh my gosh.
It was fun for me. But
Yeah, that's awesome. There we go. So we got two, sent the engines out, overhauled. Tulsa aircraft engines there. We did that. I've never had them done, but I understand they're very good.
Yep.
All the cowls, another tank. That's what that sump hooks on.
This
Oh, there we
this
go,
is what the
okay.
sump looks like hanging. That's the only part you'll see below the wing.
Now, were those scratch built or off something else?
No, we built those.
I'll be darned. So how much, there's the other engine there. So how much, were there any drawings or anything that you had?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of drawings. I would say about 85% of the complete airplane.
Okay, so what was really kind of missing?
Mostly landing gear stuff.
Really?
Yep. And they had, was there 2 or 3 draftsmen that engineered how to build that stuff from pictures and some very miscellaneous drawings that they come across. But the guys that Buzz used to employ at Otan Tool Company came out here and were engineering that stuff and did a really good job of it. So actually, we have a spare hydraulic cylinder in case one goes wrong.
Oh, really? So the fuel tanks.
And that's the difference between the inboard and the outboard. You got the reason for the cutout is some of the push-pull tubes for the ailerons have to run back here.
Oh, I see.
This
Okay.
intersection. The other part isn't needed. So we saved I don't know why, but we saved some of the original
fabric.
We used to peel off the outer wings, and
Good.
maybe we can sell little spatches of it or something.
Yeah, there you go. Or at least send a piece to Tom Schrader.
Yeah.
Well, good. So when do you think you might start covering the wings?
Well, like I say, this one's ready to go anytime. The other one, I'd like to get that one caught up so we're kind of covering at the same time.
Right.
And that, I would say, is probably, if we spent a week on it, it would be ready.
Oh, cool. And that's over here.
We spent a little more time this go around with some fit and finish, so the fabric goes on better, stays better. One of the issues we were having on the original job was the fabric would pull away from attached fittings and things. So we fabricated some
Like an attached fitting. Oh, you mean like,
first drop.
oh, I see. Oh, like down under here. So you made like little things that fit in the fabric.
Yeah, there's like on the other wing, if we went and looked at it, there's like a piece of plywood
Right.
around it, so that
Oh,
fabric
yeah, good.
will be pinched between the fitting and the
Oh, great.
spar. So.
And so do you actually like, screw it to the rib, or you just sew it into the fabric, or?
The aluminum, the aluminum piece that goes there will be riveted right to this rib.
Oh, I see.
And then
Okay.
the fabric is glued right to that
Oh, I see. Okay.
aluminum. And some of the other spots, there's a piece of plywood that basically would circle that fitting, and then put the fabric right over that whole piece of plywood, put the fitting over the top of that, so the fabric is actually pinched between the fitting and the spar, so it can't pull away. So that was a.
And these little things right here, they didn't get painted?
No, they're just bare aluminum. So that's the way they were on the other airplane too.
Cool. So really, what's left here? Just those little small pieces and
Some fit and finish around the fittings, and then put the cables in for the ailerons. Double check the twist of the wing with the aileron in it, stuff like that.
I remember. See, we were just gonna wire it for the nav lights and not all strobes and crap that they didn't originally have. So
Yeah, the original wing that we took apart had a big pad here for the strobe light, so we whacked that off and just drill a hole for the stand here.
this all gets
That'll get kind of
tweaked up.
Yep, and that'll get double covered because you're going to see these laps if you just went with one fabric.
Right.
So one of the tricks I've learned over the years is just cover only the leading edge, tighten it down, put poly brush on it, and then cover your wing because it gives you an extra layer of fabric to smooth that stuff out.
Right.
So, and it helps for wear and tear too, on the leading edge.
And originally these were all just individual pieces here.
Yep, out on the wingtip they were. Yeah.
I'll be darned. Huh. Well, that's exciting. So once you start, doing the wing, how long do you think that's going to take? I mean, really, what's kind of time-wise, what's left, and what are we looking at here?
Well, the fabric job itself is probably for the two of us working on it. If we're full-time on it, which we really haven't been for a while, but
Right.
If we're full-time on it, I'd say that the 2 outer wings, you're looking at 3 weeks to a month just to cover those, to cover those two. And then we've got covering to go on the horizontal stabilizer and the 2 lower wings yet too. So that's probably another another month or month and a half of covering. Those smaller pieces take longer.
And where are they?
too. I've got those in a storage trailer, actually.
Okay. Are they rebuilt or do they need work?
No, they're all in the same condition. So,
Good. And so, on the center section here, so the tanks to clean up, paint, get those installed. Is there a reason why it's still connected up to the hoist up there?
the main reason is we haven't done any of the hydraulic bleeding yet.
Oh, I see.
And the hydraulic lines aren't hooked up to the cylinders. Everything's
Right.
capped off. If we left the weight off of that
Yeah.
and onto the wheels, it would hold it. It's just that it's much easier, of course, to move it around with that rather than...
And this is like all the Sikorsky's. It's only the hydraulic pressure. There's no down locks.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is really kind of weird. Even on the S-43, it's like that.
Yeah.
So they got a bumper there. The cable goes down here to the...
They had a kind of a tow cable that hooked to that. I've never seen it actually on the airplane.
Huh.
He had it there, but it was never used.
Oh, really? Well, did they... so what they use for like an anchor?
It was never at anchor, to my knowledge. Not
Well,
this airplane.
really? Well, like over at Scaleria, I saw a picture of it sitting out in the...
He probably had something off the tail, I would imagine.
Really?
Just tied to the airplane. Yeah, like I said, I'd never seen him have that on the airplane.
But you could if you had to.
You could.
It would hook there, and then you'd have a little thing up there that would...
Yeah, and then there's a cleat up on the top of the airplane too.
But would you hook it to here, or would you hook it to the cleat?
Well, if you're going to have that thing on there and then fly the airplane, you would have it hooked there and then tied to the cleat.
Right.
And then as soon as you're putting it at anchor, you wouldn't anchor on that cleat.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So it would be just for basically flight
Oh,
stuff.
that's a little hatch for the bowsman.
Yeah, there's a small hatch up here. That's where the battery compartment that is. And then the ones back here are your baggage area. You can access that through the cockpit too.
Well, let me go take a peek. Oh my God. I don't know if I can do this, but gotta take two hands. Okay, got a little bit of a glass window there for viewing the stars at night in Africa. So these little handles here, they're for like holding down a... Oh, the ladder goes up there. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So we got a little bit of room back there for our pith helmets. You know.
There was a little toilet underneath that thing too.
Oh, really?
Underneath the little hats. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's not in there anymore. But
Oh, it's not in there anymore.
It's
Okay.
like a little camper toilet.
Camper toilet. Okay, we got a little thing. Pretty cool back here. So this is really not set up. I mean, originally they had, you could do like maybe 6 back here for passengers, 8
I think they maybe had as many as 10.
in the back. Oh, and then 2 in the front. Oh my God.
Some of the military versions had, obviously a lot more seats back there, but this was what we used to call kind of an executive interior.
Huh.
It's the same layout as the Johnson Wax airplane.
I mean,
had.
legally. Oh, felt on the side there. That's pretty cool. So what did they? What's this belted for? For passengers? I mean, legally.
5 in the back.
5 in the back, 2 in the front. Oh, that's pretty
And
good.
everybody always looks in here and says, "Oh man, how'd you get the wicker seats certified and all that?" But if you look at them closely, there's actually a steel frame inside there too.
Yeah, for sure. Same thing on our Ford Tri-Motor. Well, this is pretty cool. Sit back here. Of course, this is where you stash the Naked in Jamaica rum, I'm just saying. Right there. Pretty cool. And we'll go up in the cockpit. Take a peek up there. Look back this way. Not a bad little setup for cruising down Lake Tanganyika. Yeah, this is pretty nice. This is all still pretty nice. That's all felt, and that was put under there and riveted. That still looks pretty darn good. Yeah, we really didn't do anything to the hull at all, and I made a decision not to do a whole lot with the panel, trying to make it more original or anything. Basically, just come out here. And so this little step over here, that's just for like getting up that way, like getting on the bottom wings.
Yep. Yeah, your lower wing has a walkway right here.
Right.
So the reason for those steps was for back in the day when they were hauling passengers in these planes, the co-pilot could step around the outside after their people got in the back and they got the top.
Oh, and get up to the front if they were in the water.
Yep.
Cool. You know, we were over at the EA Museum. I took the guys over there, and we were watching the Johnson wax film, and they were flying it with a tail skid.
Mm-hmm.
That was just early on?
That was during the test flight phase of it, yeah.
Yeah, good for them. And they flew out of the Owatonna Airport here?
Yep. Yeah, there's grass, pretty nice smooth grass just north of the taxiway of 30.
God, this is all like leather or, you know, pseudo leather. This is all great. Even the little felt inside, which is, you know, up there, and it was all riveted before. That's when was this thing test flown?
It was finished in late 2000, so 18 years ago, basically.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Unreal.
So on the landing gear too, I didn't point that out. We put new pivots and a lot of new hardware in that. One issue that we had over in Europe was the guy that Tom was using as his maintenance guy over there. This fitting was getting a little bit loose.
Yeah.
And there's a big nut plate on the back side of this that he wasn't aware of. And he went to tighten it up, give it a half a turn tighter, and it sheared the rivets on that big nut plate back there. And over there, we're so limited in what we could repair. We were able to tighten it up a little bit to get him by. And then when the airplane was here now, we went in and addressed that and had to go in there and cut that nut plate out because everything was like seized together, rust and stuff. So we cut the nut off, and then I was able to get in there with just a regular big lock nut so that we could position it correctly, and it's tight now. So
good.
But there was some bushings, homemade brass bushings that the guy over there had made to try and tighten it up as well.
Right.
They were coming apart, and so we put all what was supposed to be in there, put it back in there now. So,
all right, good. That's something that we ought to keep
Definitely.
our eyes on.
These 4 points, you know, 2 here and on the other side, are pretty critical areas on the plane, and there was never a good way to inspect that behind the skin.
Right.
Because the sidewall of the plane continues all the way down through past the floor.
Is there a way that we could put an inspection thing in there?
Yep, already started on that on the inside.
Oh, good, okay.
So we actually had to cut an access hole in this sidewall inside the plane. You won't see it once the interior is in there.
Right.
But it was an access hole to get back in here to fix this.
Good.
So I'd like to cut the same hole on the
Oh,
other
for
side
sure.
to
Yeah.
inspect it.
Anything to make it easier to keep it,
Yep.
the longevity and safety.
And I know the guys at Johnson's over the years, they added an inspection hole there too.
Right.
So it was.
It's this little drain here.
That's actually the fitting for the brake line. The brake hose up there.
Oh, I see. Okay. And so to get in the cockpit, you just jump in the.
You'd step on the tire and here and back
Okay.
up in there.
Can I get up in there?
So just watch the paint a little bit.
Oh.
We had to take that section of flooring out to
Yeah.
do that repair down in there.
Good.
So that was a different deal on this airplane compared to the Johnson's airplane too. Is their airplane, the flooring was such that you'd have to remove a lot more than what we did to get that piece out.
Right.
And then we realized that was an issue, so they made this floor panel layout a little bit different so that you could pull just one section out if you needed to.
And the little hatch going up in the front there. That's it.
That's the oval shaped opening.
Yeah. But so there's only one set of controls, but you can swap them over.
Yep. Yeah, it's a throw over yoke. There's a little clip on there.
Right.
Pull that back.
Right. I see. Huh. Yeah. So I mean, kind of get up on the.
You can stand on here.
These things go. How do these things work?
Yeah,
How they slide back?
Slide straight back. Yeah. They're pretty tight, especially been sitting for a long time. Forget it.
Yeah, that one doesn't go, but this one does. Okay. Huh. Oh man, there's a lot of room in there. So what's the, so they put baggage and stuff up here, I guess, huh? That's pretty cool. So there's really no, like a bowsman thing. Well, oh, but you can actually crawl up there. Then what does this do?
Inside there, that's just for the battery boxes.
How does it come out? Slides back?
Slides back, same as the other one.
Oh, I see, yeah, okay.
We have
Oh,
the
cool.
battery for shipping of it too.
Yeah, so you don't actually, you can crawl up through there while the engines are running, I guess, and then still get to the cable. But you're outside, you're not actually inside the airplane like the...
And if you don't mind the 108-inch prop swinging right behind it.
That's right. Yeah. So really, other than the inspection things on the, you know, for the landing gear for that little deal, that you're going to cut through the side there, is there any other things that need to be done on the hull?
No, you shouldn't need anything.
Really? I mean, so all the restoration's pretty much been outside the hull.
Yes. Yeah. The hull, of course, when we did that in 2000, that whole thing was completely brand new. There's no original anything in there.
Right.
So that makes a difference too. But yeah, it doesn't. The only thing I could come up with was those attach points, and that was kind of a known issue.
Yeah.
Before we started.
Good. Good. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I had a great time, and you know, you're making great progress. Just do the best you can and keep chipping away. Send me a bill every once in a while and some pictures.
For sure will.
Good. Super. Good job. Kermie Cam out for now.